Hi everyone! Welcome to the first episode of Plan My Wedding with me. I'm so excited. Thank you for everyone who submitted little questions. I got a lot of those. And I'm really excited. There's a lot. So let's get into it. I just realized that when I posted our countdown, our 4-month countdown, that I haven't really told anybody on the wedding planner page just kind of like how long we've been involved in the process, how long out we are, and then kind of where we are at. So I'm just going to do like a brief kind of where we're at process before I get into answering everybody's questions. Michael and I got engaged on our anniversary last year, which was the end of August 25th, that weekend before that. We got engaged in the Tetons in Jackson, Wyoming. It's my favorite place in the whole wide world. So I think that means we've been engaged now for 9 months. And then we're 4 months out from the wedding. Right now in planning is we have a day of coordinator booked. I'm planning it, obviously. We have our venue. We have our cake vendor, although she's like, we haven't finalized details. We have our photographer. We have our caterer. We still need a DJ. We still need a florist. I think we're going to hire somebody a little non-traditional to do our wedding flowers. I sent out the save the dates. I sent those out before the new year, so we got engaged, like I said, at the end of August, and then around like Christmas time we sent out the save the dates. I just ordered the invites, so about 4 months out, and I'm gonna get those addressed and mailed out within the next month. I think I'll probably do that in the next week or two, but my deadline for myself is by the end of the month. I already have all of the decor planned. I know what our tablescapes will look like. I know what I want all of the florals to look like, the altar pedestals, the bar setup, all of that stuff. We have our Airbnb booked. Michael and I are going up to Texas a week early to Austin City Limits Music Festival, so we have our ACL tickets booked. We have our accommodations for the week before booked. We have some of the tablescape stuff purchased already. We're doing kind of simple tablescapes, and I think that's everything. Where I'm at currently in the process is trying to make a wedding playlist, which I think is created. I need to do final details. I think I have all of our songs picked out for walking down the aisle, first dance, cake cutting, all of that stuff picked out. It's just kind of finalizing the vibe. I listen to this playlist like every day. And then also kind of guest experience. So right now I'm trying to figure out what we're going to have at the Airbnb the night before. I want all of our guests to come over and swim and hang out and play pool and play games and just be able to like have that as a central location throughout the weekend. So right now I'm just trying to figure out like drinks and food and snacks and kind of what I want that to look like, and writing that all down and getting that part all figured out. I wrote down everybody's questions because I thought it would be really fun to just like go through them. It makes it easier for me when creating a video that I don't have to go back to my slides on my Instagram, and then it's kind of fun. I'll just like pull a question and we can answer them. So let's do it. Okay, first question is, what kind of bar are you having? I love this question. We are going to do an open bar, but it's just going to be beer and wine, and I think 2 specialty cocktails. We were kind of torn on whether to do just beer and wine or a full bar or specialty cocktails, or kind of what to do. We knew we wanted to do specialty cocktails just because Michael, my fiance, doesn't drink beer or wine, so that was kind of the first thing in that. And then we wanted to give people more of an option other than just beer and wine. We didn't want to do just like a full open bar with every selection possible, just because I think there's a lot that goes to waste that way. Trying to like balance out cost a little bit, to be honest, and guest experience, and also just like what made the most sense for us. But that's what we're gonna do. Second question is, how did you pick your venue? I had a lot of questions about our venue, so I tried to like narrow it down to the ones, some of them are kind of the same question. Okay, so there's kind of a lot that went into picking our venue, and I don't know if everybody knows this, but we also switched our venue like 2 months ago. So I hope they don't see this. We originally, my dream wedding would be for Michael and I to elope with our closest people in Italy. It's like my dream. Let's just have a long like wedding week and keep all of our besties there, and we'll pay for an Airbnb and house everybody for a week. And while we're there, we'll just kind of elope. That was my dream. I initially was trying to pick a venue that felt very much Italian in the States. We live in the Four Corners region, and so we were trying to find something kind of central to us. There was a venue we found in Texas that was also very Italian, very beautiful. So we originally picked them basically just because of the vibes. That's how we initially picked our venue. I know there's more of the story to tell, and I will tell it. I think there's a couple more questions in here about our venue, so maybe here in a second. There's more to tell. Okay, next question is, what vendor should you book first? I think you should hire a planner first, because planners are professionals at planning weddings. You likely are not a professional wedding planner. You are probably planning a wedding for the first time, and there's people who do this for a living. You most likely have to pay your wedding planner the same amount whether you hire them on day 1 or month 4. So why wouldn't you get the most out of your money by having them with you step 1 of the process to help you and guide you through the rest of the process? That's different than the industry standard. I think if you ask most people in the industry, they're going to tell you that you should book your vendors in order from the largest vendor to the smallest vendor. And I don't necessarily agree with that, and I'll tell you why here in a second. But that would be booking your venue first, and then your caterer, and then your photographer or your planner, so on and so forth down the line. And I think the reason that is because it's your largest, so those things typically are also the most expensive. So I think the standard is doing it that way, because if you're booking your most expensive vendor first, then as you book those other things, you have a little bit more flexibility. You're getting the thing that you need the most for the wedding, which is a place to get married and food, and then all of the other stuff matters less, right? I don't agree with that. The alternative to both of those options keeps the same sentiment as the second option of like biggest vendor to like most important vendor first. And I think this varies on couple, right? So it's not most important generally, but maybe it's most important to you. So if you've been eyeing this photographer and you've seen her stuff or his or their stuff, and you love it, and you're like, I can't wait to get married, I want them to photograph our wedding, and you spend all your money on a venue and a caterer, then maybe by the time it gets time to book your... Okay, I'm talking a lot, and I have dinner in the oven, so I'm gonna try to wrap this up. I have 3 more questions. Let's go. What made you decide that your venue was the perfect venue for you? I think this is a perfect segue, what we just talked about, into this question. I'm gonna answer this backwards. I'm gonna tell you where we're at now and then how we got there. The venue we have now, I know it's perfect for me because I knew day 1 from getting engaged that I've been in a lot of weddings, I've worked a lot of weddings, I've been to a lot of them, okay? And the thing that I hate the most, and unfortunately it's pretty inevitable when you have a wedding, they're a lot of work. They're a lot of work, okay? And if you're the bridal party, it's probably a lot of work. If you're a family, it's probably a lot of work. If you're a wedding planner, a day of coordinator, it's a lot of work. And I just knew that I didn't want to put myself through that. I didn't want to put my friends through that. And it's inevitable, but I was just like, how do we minimize this, okay? So the venue that I have now, I know is perfect for me because the amount of staff that they have and the amount of things that this venue provides. So I think that our venue is very much worth its weight in gold, okay? So this venue speaks for itself, not only in the location, what it looks like. It's beautiful, it's gonna look great in pictures, okay? But more importantly than that, this venue to a T is staffed, right? So I just can't even explain enough. So they do rentals on site, linens on site, dishware on site, in-house catering. You have a team member who's like your account manager, and then they have a whole staff that will come and help my day of coordinator to set up tables, set up chairs, set up our decor, transfer florals, do all of the things in-house, one-stop shop. brilliant, like brilliant. Can't say it again. Brilliant. There we go. I love it. And I think the value we're getting from our venue in that sense has saved me so much stress, so much time in other areas. And I think that's a good caveat, a good little segue into why my other venue wasn't perfect and where I went wrong and I made a mistake, okay? I was so excited about getting engaged and I was so excited about finding a venue that reminded me of my dream. I just wanted to be in Tuscany. I didn't care. I was just like, this venue's beautiful, like the first venue, right? And everything about my venue I knew from the beginning. So this is zero shade, zero tea to this venue. I'm not even gonna tell you where it was because it's my fault. Mine. I made a mistake. The original venue didn't have all of those things that I told you, okay? So I was going to have to rent linens, we were going to have to rent dishware, outsource a caterer, and they weren't providing any additional staff for setup, tear down, stuff like that. So initially I was like, okay, cool, normal, right? Like a lot of people have to rent linens, a lot of people have to rent dishware, so on and so forth. This venue, my original venue, also had a preferred vendor list, which I knew, I'd seen them all. The vendor I cared the most about was my photographer. I hired her day one. A photographer wasn't a part of that vendor list, so I was like, cool, I don't care. Well, what I didn't consider is how much having to pay and outsource all of those other things, especially when I don't get a choice in where they come from, was going to impact our budget, really, to be honest, right? So if I have to rent linens and dishware and additional staff to work the bar and additional staff to clean up and additional staff for whatever, and all of those people have to be hired through a caterer that's on a preferred vendor list, then my choice is being taken away from me, right? I can't budget how much I want to pay for those things. I can't, it is what it is. And the reality was that to get all of those things, extra staff, linens, dishware, so on and so forth, was costing more money than I would like to admit, okay? So much money, in fact, that we lost the deposit on our original venue and still paid for a second venue, and this second venue I still think is such a greater value. So don't make my mistake. Have somebody, and the thing is, if it were any other wedding, I would have thought of that and I would have consulted them and I would have said, think about your budget, right? And I think I was just so excited and so set on, I just wanted to be in Tuscany. I didn't care. I was just like, this venue's beautiful. If anybody can tell me where to get more of these San Pellegrinos, the Chow ones or the summer ones, the peach, the limoncello, they're so good. They're out of them currently at my Target, and I really want these at the Airbnb at our wedding. I love them. I drink like 3 of them a day. How many's too many? Someone help, please. I'm back. Sorry, I had to take a brief intermission. My dinner was ready to change my clothes, get a San Pellegrino, sponsor me. But I think what I was saying was that I cared more about this picture perfect venue that I had in my head, the vision of Tuscany, and wasn't being super practical, and I didn't really care that I wasn't being practical at the time, but I paid for that mistake, and that's okay. I think the more heartfelt answer as to what makes somebody decide that your venue's perfect for you is like, you'll know it when you see it. And I know that's sometimes hard when you're looking at venues and there's so many and so many choices. I would say if you're in the really early stages of planning, to like vision board it out. Like when you picture yourself getting married, what do you picture, right? Like how do you envision yourself walking down the aisle? What do you see? What do you want your photos to look like? Is there anything that just speaks to you and your partner, right? Like an overlook, a chapel, a terrace, like what do you picture? I would start there because I do think there's a lot of options and sometimes it's easy to get in the weeds about stuff like that. And so I would try to like sit down with you and your partner and really think about what's you. And then when you start looking at places, it'll be easier to know what aligns with what you guys want and what doesn't. So that's the answer to that. Where do we even start when planning a wedding? I think that this is a great question. I think that the first place you need to start is figuring out the location of your wedding, right? So where yours and your partner's families live, where most of your friends live, what makes sense, where you guys want to get married, state, location. I know who wrote this question, so please get married in Tennessee so I can come visit you. I think the next place to start is kind of getting organized. So if you're not going to hire a wedding planner, just kind of getting something to help you get organized. So I have these wedding planner binders that I give to all of my couples. I'll probably give one to you if you ask for it. Or there's also great websites that help kind of do some stuff like this. The Knot, the Wedding Wire. I personally used my wedding planner binder and the Knot. And I did that because it's the era where everybody wants a wedding website, and it keeps track of our guest count, and there's quizzes, especially if you really don't know what your aesthetic is. It'll be like, find your wedding vibe or whatever. We did all of our stationery through there, our save the dates, our invites. I think that they are the best cost and the best value for what you're getting. So they are the least expensive without being, printed at home. A lot of DIY, looking super cheap. Our invites came with invites, the liners, save the date cards, stickers. They printed the addresses, return address and recipient address on our save the dates, and the wedding invites. Haven't had anything to complain about in terms of that. So I would start somewhere like that. I would also go to Pinterest or just somewhere to vision board. If you're cutting out of magazines, cut out of magazines. If you want to screenshot, create something on your phone, print stuff, whatever you need to do to visualize. I am a huge Pinterest girl, but I want to remind you that in the age of technology and social media, that your wedding is your wedding, and it should be special and unique to you and your partner, and we should not be recreating somebody's Pinterest. We should not be recreating an aesthetic. We should not be chasing something that's unattainable. I think it's easy to get caught up in the noise of the wedding industry and see these beautiful multi-million-dollar weddings online and think, oh my gosh, I need that. And then be sad that you can't have that. So I think while vision boarding is so important and you should definitely do it, I would keep perspective that your wedding is special and unique to you and your partner, and not get stuck in the noise that comes with wedding planning. Okay, and the last question, sorry to say, I'm not going to address on this video. There's too many things I could say about this topic. It's wedding flowers. I will tell you it's about wedding flowers. I could make a whole separate video on that, and I'm tired, so that's all you got for now. Thank you to everybody who submitted questions and who are interested in my wedding planning journey and are even here watching this content. I appreciate you all so much. I love you, and I couldn't do this without you. Bye.